Materials, materials, materials. Sometimes it feels like we need to use materials to do anything in the Division 2 these days. We use them for crafting, optimization, recalibration, and even to complete some projects. And with the release of Proficiency and Expertise in the Division 2, materials are needed now more than ever. I'm surprised we don't need to donate steel or carbon fiber just to play a mission or enter the DZ. So when I received a request to make a video on the best ways to farm materials, I thought, hey, that's a great idea. Using materials is easy. It's finding them that can be tricky. So in this video, I've got 3 methods you can use to farm materials easily and efficiently. But before that, in case you didn't know, our materials caps have been raised to 9,999, making it much easier to farm, not having to worry about being maxed on certain materials. So the first method is the solar farm control point. This whole area is a hotspot for materials. Every few meters you'll see a box to open. And if you don't feel like doing PvE, just change your world difficulty to normal, quickly clear the NPCs and loot the area. After clearing the area though, make sure to donate supplies to the officer so you'll be able to see the loot boxes through walls. This will make it much easier to find the boxes if you're like me and don't know where they all are. And you can even farm outside the control point, as there are some hotspots around there too. Here you can see my materials before and after a run through Solar Farm. You can see I was able to gather a significant amount of materials in just a few minutes. This can be done once a day per character. So if you have a second, third, or fourth character, you can run through here on each of them daily, which again will give you a lot of resources in a very small time commitment. For those of you who'd rather play the game and shoot enemies, the next method is running Countdown. You get an absurd amount of loot in Countdown, so clear out as much space as possible in your backpack before queuing up, pick up everything you see, and break it all down afterwards. If you're farming for a particular material, you can change the target loot to the appropriate item. For example, if you need printer filament, set mods as your target loot. For steel and receiver components, set any weapon type as target loot. Brand sets for ceramics and protective fabric, and gear sets for carbon fiber, electronics, titanium, and protective fabric. Finally, this is by far the most efficient technique, but unfortunately it's not available to everyone. Running a new character through New York can yield a huge amount of materials in a short time, but it depends on your SHD level. The higher your watch level, the more you get. As a quick example, if your watch level is 1800, subtract 800 and you're left with 1000 points. You could use these points to get 10,000 printer filament, which would be the equivalent of breaking down 1,666 mods. And it would only take a few hours to get this. So for those of you who have a high enough SHD level, I have a video that explains this in much more detail. I'll leave the link in the description below. So those are my 3 tips on how to farm materials. Each method has its pros and cons, and which is best for you just depends on your preferences. Anyways, until my next video, which will probably be my newest system corruption build, happy farming, agents.